Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the instructions in the video description.
In this hand, there is a button straddle to 10.
Okay.
And the action starts with a small blind in this case. So the big blind calls the 10. One other villain in the middle calls the 10, and I overcall with pocket fours. 4 of spades, 4 of hearts.
4 spades, 4 hearts, what, like at the cutoff or something?
Yeah, and a hijack.
And how deep are you guys?
With the straddle villain, we're 1K effective.
Okay. So button straddle, big blind calls, MP calls, hero overlimps 4-4, and then does the button check the option?
The button makes it 40.
All right, button 240, okay.
The big blind calls, and the
Mm-hmm.
limper folds.
So 3 ways.
So, yeah, it's pretty clear. I complete here for 30 more, closing the action.
Okay.
So the pot is 130, 3 players. The flop is Jack of Spades, 4 of Diamonds, 10 of Hearts.
Jack of spades, 4 of diamonds, 10 of hearts, so you flop bottom set, right?
Correct.
And you're in the middle, sort of, right? Button with a preflop lead.
I'm in the middle, and the big spot is the big blind.
Okay.
And he's about 800 effective. I'm about 1,000 effective with the other villain.
Okay.
So the big blind is a well-known physician, family physician that plays a lot in the Foxwood, Mohegan, all the places around here, and he he's calling pretty liberally. He checks,
Okay.
and I decide to take a bit of an unorthodox line and lead with bottom set here, donk into the preflop raiser.
Okay.
So I bet 75.
Okay.
Button calls, and the fish in the big blind, the VIP and the big blind folds.
Okay, so let's just talk about flop play. I mean, at these levels, like, I don't have any problem fast playing. I've been doing my 5-5 challenge, the last 14 or 15 podcasts over the last few months. Fast playing comes in a number of different ways. You can obviously go for a check raise. You can lead out. I tend to do more leading out when a board that the preflop raiser isn't necessarily expected to bet comes. So sometimes I might lead out on more of a raggish type of board if I don't think he's going to auto c-bet. Here on Jack 4-10, you will get a lot of c-bets from ace king, ace queen. If he's got a hand like 8s or 9s, he's not going to bet, but he's just going to fold to your bet anyways. I don't hate the lead out. That's just my approach to these spots. I probably wouldn't lead out here because I think you're going to get a fair amount of bets from the button and quite a bit. But leading out is fine if you mix it up. I think so. 75 and a call, okay.
Yeah, and so the villain now, he's just sat down, so he's less than 1 orbit in. He's bought in full, and I cover him. So he's really sitting down with the max. And I have some history with him from other casinos in New England. He is, I would say, very sticky. Literally never folds to a 3-bet. Loves to hero call. So he's got those tendencies. So I think that's another reason why I don't expect him to fold when I lead. He was perplexed by my lead.
Right, and another thing too that people in the chat are saying too is that you've got this spot in the big blind, so sometimes you actually want to reel him in with a check and then have this guy bet and then this guy call instead of going like bet raise as a bluff, or driving the other guy out. But like I said, I mean, I think it's probably pretty close. So he makes the call. Okay, so what happens here on the turn?
Okay, so turn, possible 280. It pairs the 10.
Okay,
10
so you're
of
full.
spades.
10 of spades, putting a backdoor spade draw out there, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And I don't, and the chat comments are valid. I mean, with this guy out with the big blind, the fish out of the hand, I think it's a pretty clear keep betting. For me, I don't see any reason to check here. I bet 160 into 280.
Okay.
And he raises to 420.
So button raises to 420. So this is sort of interesting here because what I was going to say about you leading on turn two is that I mean, I can see it probably either way. I mean, the problem with checking turn after leading is that what are you going to do check raise turn? And that's really, really strong. Like if I put myself on the button spot and I had the top of my range and I didn't raise the flop, say I had aces or kings, and then now you check raise the turn, that gives me an excuse to dump the hand. So
Yeah.
if you had played this as a lead and then a check, I'd actually probably rather just go check call and then go for a check raise on the river. I'm not a huge fan of that line. I mean, to keep it consistent, I'm not the biggest fan of those lines because so many people check back rivers that they should value bet. But if this guy's any type of player, he should be betting all over pairs on like pretty much brick runouts on the river if you play as a check call on turn because, it's two pair, the top two pair, right? Different from like if the turn was an 8 or something like that. Here, it's kind of interesting because when you bet flop, and now bet turn, I don't know if I would be raising like with an overpair here if I chose to just flat the flop in position against you because I think you could have a 10, especially if you're unknown. Now I know that if you're CLP sub, probably wouldn't lead with a 10, but this guy doesn't know that. If you don't, I mean, I know you said you do have some history, but so when he raises the turn here, it's kind of interesting because I wonder if it's a full of shit raise or if he has a 10 right now. Usually at this level, people are not going to raise fold, but I do wonder here if I was full, I might call here and check the river. And the reason being is because if he does have some bluffs here, he might take this line as a bluff and you get him to bluff on the river. It would be a disaster if he was raising with like kings and then he checks it back. I mean, you could just move all in here too. I mean, there really isn't all that much to be done with these stack sizes. And because you led the flop, by like moving all in here on the turn, a lot of people won't buy it. Like, I think you can get away with bet 3-betting all in because you led the flop. If you check called the flop and then led the turn and then bet 3-bet all in on the turn, it gets a little bit dicey in terms of like giving him an escape hatch to fold. So I could see this go either way because I don't know what this guy's raising with here on the turn. It kind of feels a little bit fishy to me. If he has a 10, he's going to bet with it anyways on the river when check two. And if he's bluffing, and if he's any type of player, he should be betting an overpair here, I feel like a fair amount, but I just feel like he's not raising an overpair all that much. So I might call and check the river here, even though, like I said, in general, I'm not a huge fan of that line because people don't bet enough at the end here. But because you played the hand unorthodoxly, I wonder if, in an unorthodox way, I wonder if it really matters because you could probably just get him to call off anyways by jamming turn.
Yeah, no, I sort of think if my hand looks like a jack to him would be my guess. Yeah, and his range should be pretty narrow here. Like, I agree that he's not doing this with kings, aces, queens. Jack 10, I would assume he raises a flop a lot. So it feels, and I don't.
Well, you can never get away from this hand here, no matter how it's played. You're just not, you're not deep enough. Some people in the live chat are saying, are you scared of Jack 10 or jacks? I mean, there are just certain hold'em spots that are cooler. Somebody else makes a good point here. Now the backdoor spade comes in. A couple combos of like ace king of spades, ace queen of spades that might float that just might call the flop, that pick up sort of, backdoor equity, or even some sort of float like a 5-4 with spades. That's why I think I might call here and check the river. Again, I can't stress enough how it takes a special circumstance for me to do that because normally players at this level, once they raise, they're going to put it in. And I don't want him to check back kings or aces. I don't think it's that big a mistake if you just go bet 3-bet, but you might let him off the hook if he is running some sort of bluff because I think a 10 will bet anyways if he did turn trip 10s. So you might get the best of both worlds by calling and checking the river. What did you end up doing?
I ended up shoving. He had 450 behind, and he moaned and groaned and asked if I was full and blah, 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 and ended up calling it off with king 10.
Okay.
And I held.
So Button has king 10 for trip 10s. Do you want, and obviously he's not going to fold that, but do you understand what I'm saying here? That if you put a range of tens or bluffs here, that calling might be a better play in checking the river.
Yep, no, I agree. I ran the hand by a few friends, and they also agreed that getting it in on the turn was not optimal, and just calling was probably the play.
Well, be careful when you use that word optimal because people use that word optimal in different senses. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who know? I can't tell you what the true GTO, because your opponent's not playing at GTO responses to this, but
Yeah,
it probably would be to jam. To be honest with you, if your playing opponent was playing optimally, he's not supposed to be raising overpairs here. So at this stack depth, I don't know if there's much of a raise full button here. He probably has tens. I don't know the answer in terms of a pure mathematical optimal sense, but I'm talking about the way to make the most money might be just a call. And I don't know if he's raising, over pairs, or excuse me, yeah, just over pairs as a bet and a raise here on the turn. But I like the hand. I appreciate the call. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.